Good morning. Hello there. This is Miss Susan. Today's episode is about introduction to decimals. Let's start. A decimal is a number with one or more digits. To the right of the decimal point, you can write tens and hundreds as fractions or decimals. So this is the definition of a decimal. So let's see. Decimals are, again, numbers to the right of the decimal point. This is called a decimal point. It's resembling the normal point, okay? So this is the point. It's called a decimal point. To the right of the point, there are numbers. It's called a decimal. And the decimal is a small number, which is between 0 and 1. So it's resembling fractions. It's a small number, but it's not too small, which is bigger than 0, but is still smaller than 1. So that's why that you can write decimals as fraction or vice versa. So fraction, you can write it as a decimal, and the decimal, you can write it as a fraction because they are related to each other. This is me, Miss Susan. Where we can see decimals. We can see decimals everywhere. If you have or hold any timer, you can see decimals. In gas stations, you can see decimals. Also at the cashier desk and in the grocery shop. Place value of decimals. You know that place values are consist of houses. The house of units, which is consist of ones, tenths, and hundreds. The house of thousands, which consists of 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Million. 1 million, 10 million, and 100 million. And between each house and the other house, there is a comma. So after each of three numbers, we put comma. Okay, but finally, to the right of the 1, we put something is called decimal point. And here it comes the house of decimals. But for now, I will just introduce you to only tens and hundreds. So what is the tenth? Tens is a number which is come to the right of the decimal point and which is smaller than 1, and it consists of dividing the 1 into 10 equal pieces. So each one piece of these pieces is called 1 out of 10 or 1/10. 1/10. And if you have more than 1, you will say it 2/10. So if you have more than 1, you say 1. If you have 1, you say 1/10. If you have more than 1, you say 2 or 3/10. And which is smaller than the tens comes hundredths. And hundredths is dividing the whole one into 100 smaller pieces. So each small square here equal 1 out of 100. So this is 1 out of 100, this is 1 out of 100, this is 1 out of 100, or 100th. And if you have more than one piece, you say 2 or 300ths. Now again, to review it, again, after ones comes the decimal point to the right of it. After that comes the decimal place. The decimal place is consist of tens, which is dividing the whole one into 10 equal pieces, and each one of these ones is called 1/10. So this is 1/10, this is 1/10, this is 1/10, and this is 1/10, and so on till 10/10, which is equal 1 whole fraction or 1 whole one. So to the right of the tenth comes the hundredth. And the hundredth is dividing the whole one into 100 small pieces. So each small square is called 100th. Okay? Okay, let's move and practice. First, write 5/10 as a fraction and as a decimal. Okay, this is the model here. Okay, how many parts in all? It's 10 parts, so we cut it into 10 parts. Then we color how many? 5 parts, so we color 5 parts. So this is as a fraction. So this is 5 parts, so this is 5/10. So we write it in tenths place. Do we have any whole ones? No. Do we have hundreds here? We cut it into 100 pieces? No. So we leave this empty and leave the ones empty or put 0. Then write it as a fraction. How many parts in all? It's 10. How many colored parts? It's 5. So 5/10. As a decimal, as we see in the place value form here, 0.5. Let's read it again, 0.5. Okay, let's practice again. Write the fraction or mixed number and the decimal shown by the model. So, as a fraction, how many parts in all here? It's 10. So down in the denominator place, we write 10. And how many colored parts? It's 4. So 4/10. So this is 4/10. Oh, sorry. No, it's not. It's 4/10. So how we write it? 0.4, because 4 it's in the tens place. Now look here with me. This is a bit tricky because we have whole model colored here. So look with me again. How many parts in all in each model? It's 10. So here it's cut it to 10 parts, and here also it's cut it into 10 parts. So the denominator here is 10. And how many colored pieces in all? It's 19. So this is improper fraction, but you have to write it. It's 19 over 10. Let's write it as a decimal. This is 1 whole. So we write it in ones place, 1. Then after that comes the decimal point. Here, you can imagine it's here. Then how many tens? It's 9/10. So this is 1 and 9/10, or 1.9. This is lesson 9.1. So if you please make the homework in page 499. Let's do more practicing. Write a fraction or mixed number and the decimal shown by the model. Okay, this is 31 over 100. So this means how many parts in all, how many cutted parts in all? It's 100. And we have to color 31. So we write it in the decimal point, in the decimal place value. Do we have whole ones? No. Then decimal point. After that comes 31. So 30 is in the tens place and 1 is in the hundredths place. And as a decimal, we can write it 0.31. So look here with me. Let's count how many parts in all here. It's 100. So the denominator will be 100. And how many colored parts? This is 1. So this is 10, sorry. Every small piece is 1. And every whole line is 10. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and let's count this apart. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. So it is 68 colored parts out of 100, and this means 68 hundredths. 68 hundredths. So it's 0.68. Now look here with me. How many parts in all? It's 100, so the denominator will be 100. And how many colored parts? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it is 8 over 100. So look here with me. Don't write 0.8. No, 8 here is in the hundreds place. So we put it in the second place like here. So it would be 0.08. Don't get confused. Okay? So for the lesson 9.2, please do the homework 505. And thank you. Please follow and subscribe. See you later.